For this section, I will be covering the process for using Microsoft Word to create return address labels. So when we are working with this process, you can see that I already have Word open. And typically when you open Word, you are going to be on the Home tab. So in order to start this process, I am going to click to access the Mailings tab. And then from here, I will click where it says Labels. When this dialog box opens, I will leave the spot for address empty. You could type in your return address here. However, for this demonstration, we are creating labels with an image. So what I am going to do here is I am going to verify that the correct label is being used. So this is set up to use an Avery brand label with the number 5160, which is pretty typical for address labels. If that is not correct, you can click the sample label, and now you can go in and you can select the brand and the number of label you are using. Mine happens to be correct, so I'm going to cancel. Once this is correct, you can leave everything else as it is and click New Document. So now that I have gone to this new document, you will see what appears to be a table. It is in fact a table, and these are grid lines. The grid lines that you see on my screen will not print. However, they give you some guidance for the structure of your label page. If you like those labels, you can continue to work. Or I'm sorry, if you like those grid lines, you can continue to work. However, if you do not, if you find that they clutter your screen, you can, on the tabs at the top, because we are working in a table, you will see these two. They're called contextual tabs. They only appear when you're working in a table. So you can click the Layout tab, and then from here, over in the left corner, you can click View Grid Lines, and they disappear. You are still working in a table. If you look at your ruler, you will see that you are still in a table. However, those grid lines are no longer on your screen. Conversely, if you don't have those grid lines and you want them, same process. You would go to the Layout tab and click View Grid Lines, and they appear. It's a toggle button, so each time you click it, they either appear or disappear depending on the current situation. So what you are going to do now is in the very first box that appears, you are going to create the label that you want. So if you are looking to import a picture or to use that logo, you will go to Insert, Pictures, and then you will go to where you have that image saved. If it's an online picture that you're pulling off the internet, you could do that and then search for it. However, if it's a logo that your company is using or you personally are using, you would go to this device, and then you will go to the location where the label is saved, or the image is saved. Mine happens to be in Documents. You will see here I have Technology logo. I will click it and then click Insert. So once it appears in the label, I can resize it so that it appears as I want it to be. I can move it wherever I want. If you don't have the ability to move it because it seems like it's kind of stuck, you can click the Layout Options button to the right side of the image, and then you can select how you want your text to wrap. Do you want it to be tight around your image? Do you want your text to go through the image? Do you want the image to be behind your text? It will just depend on the appearance that you want. So I am going to select tight, which is what mine had been set for, and I'm going to resize it to fit my label. And once I have it positioned where I want it to be, I am going to type my text. For my label, And then once I have entered my text, I want to decide how I want this to be formatted. How do I want my text to appear? Do I want it larger or smaller? You want to basically perfect this one label. So I'm going to go back to Table Tools, and I want that text to be, perhaps I want it to be centered, in the middle of my label. I want my image to be a little larger. Remember, you are trying to get the image to work with your text, so it may take a little bit of adjustment and altering in order to fit it on as you want it to be fit. But you are basically going to perfect one label. Perhaps you want to adjust the fonts. You can make any changes that you want to at this point. And make sure it looks as you want it to look. So once you have one label that you have created to look as you want it to look, you are going to select or highlight that entire label. So you will see highlighted, I have the image, I have the text, and I also went to this sort of the margin between the labels, and I have selected it. So now I'm going to go back to mailings, back to labels, and you will see now the text appears in my label. The image does not, but the text is in this address box. You can make any changes here you would need to, and then I'm going to again click New Document, and now I have a full page of address labels. Hope this helped.